and welcome back to BWB Brunch with Books, where we are continuing April's two books selected, that is Alchemist by Paulo Coelho and Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. So now we are about to see what is more in these two books. Let's invite Dr. Geeta for more information from these two stories. Dr. Geeta, over to you for The Alchemist.
Thank you, Shritapa. Hi, everyone. Every dream begins with excitement. Do you agree? But every dream also demands courage. In this timeless classic, The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho, we see Santiago take the first brave step towards his treasure. Yet, the road ahead is far from easy. The journey tests him with loss, uncertainty, unexpected work, and even the quiet temptation to abandon his quest. But along the way, Santiago begins to discover something extraordinary. He learns that the universe speaks, not in loud declarations, but in subtle and mysterious signs. Through strangers who become teachers, through love that awakens the heart, and through the silent wisdom of the desert itself. As Santiago continues his journey, he begins to realize that following a dream is not only about reaching a destination, it's about learning how to listen. And in today's episode, we explore Santiago's journey, where dreams are tested and where true seekers begin to understand that the path itself starts transforming them. So, after leaving the crystal merchant shop, Santiago finds himself standing at an important crossroad. By now, he has earned enough money to return to Spain. In fact, he could go back and buy even more sheep than he once owned. But Santiago realizes his heart is no longer satisfied with the life he once knew. The dream of the treasure near the pyramid still calls to him. He understands that returning home would mean abandoning the dream that awakened his spirit. So once again, Santiago chooses courage over comfort. He joins a large caravan traveling across the vast Sahara Desert toward Egypt. The desert stretches endlessly before them, silent, mysterious, and full of hidden lessons. During this journey, Santiago meets an Englishman who is deeply fascinated by the ancient science of alchemy. The Englishman is traveling through the desert in search of a legendary master known simply as the Alchemist. Through their conversation, Santiago begins to encounter a new way of thinking about the world. The Englishman believes that the universe holds a deeper spiritual wisdom, a hidden order connecting all things. As the caravan slowly crosses the desert, Santiago begins to observe the world around him more carefully. He watches the wind moving across the sand, the behavior of animals, and the quiet rhythms of nature. Gradually, he begins to understand what Paulo Coelho calls the language of the world. A silent communication between all living things, a language made up of intuition, science, and moments of awareness. It is a language that cannot be learned from books alone. It must be felt, noticed, and trusted. And this growing awareness brings us to today's discussion. So, viewers, I ask you, do you also understand the language of the world? Do you think life gives us signs that guide our decisions if we learn to pay attention? So, I invite Dr. Siddharth to give his reflections on this topic. So, over to you, Dr. Siddharth.
When we talk about explorations, I get reminded of my travel journeys, and it's such a amazing topic today. You are talking about how we learn from our education versus observations. So I think knowledge needs to be there because we need to learn languages or learn the way the society works. But our own learnings and discoveries have to be done through our own observations. Whatever we see is always not right. Whatever we hear is always not true. So we have to find out what is actually meaningful and make sense for us, right? So that is where the power of observation comes in. And I feel in my travels, the more I have traveled, I've learned about how different people interact in different areas. But then, there may be different weathers or different kind of condition and environment they are living in. But the human emotion stays similar. And that is where I think my observation has been that how a particular culture warmly accepts a stranger, how they treat their pets, and how they love nature around them. My learning from there has been that we have to be kind, we have to be very clear on how we can keep ourselves open and understand these small things from different aspects of our life. And these learnings have like grown and compounded in time. And now when I look at when I go for a travel, I know what to do, but I'm still keeping my mind shut and eyes open so that I can learn more, explore more, and understand more when I interact with new people from new travel in the new travel places. So recently, one of the incident I would like to share is when we had gone to Sikkim, and Sikkim is a very beautiful place. Uh, the the one of the guys who was actually helping us tour the places, he was talking about some specific architecture, and he was telling that in those times it was very difficult to travel, so people used to take a lot of time like on horse or something, they used to go on horse or elephants or whatever mode of transport was there, and how they used to find different meet a lot of people and take those collections and then store with them. So one of the place here is a place called Ravangla, where there's a biggest Buddha statue made, and people from all over the world have come and actually kept relics of their culture in that Buddha temple. And it is such a special place that because there is not only the energy of the people who have made that temple, but the energy of the whole world which has come in and been placed there. And the moment we enter there, there's a lot of energy, a lot of positivity when we enter, and it teaches us that we have to accept other people. We can't be only thinking about ourselves, but we have to think about others as well. So that positive thing has got into me, and I could actually feel that when so many people from all over the world, the Buddhist monks, the higher ranks have come, and not only our prime ministers, but prime ministers from the other countries have come there and kept their treasured possessions in this place. It means a lot, and that means that when we are accepting something with lot of respect, then uh, the energy and the kind of power of that whatever we keep increases manyfold. And that is some learning I got when I reached there. It felt like there was a lot of noise outside the place, but the moment we got into the temple area, inside the such a large Buddha temple, which is inside, it looks like a monastery. When we got inside there was pin drop silence. Nobody was talking. Everybody was just observing, and that is the beauty of when we start respecting each other's culture or each other's way of teaching and things like that. So that's was my beautiful experience, and I wanted to share that. So over to you, Shitapa, your story. Thank you.
Thank you, Siddharth, and that was so relatable. I was coming to Australia when I was in India. I had the visa in hand, and I knew Aussies speak in a different English than American English. I was aware of it because my sister lived here for long, but I didn't experience the actual, talking to Aussies much, even though I had traveled in country a couple of times before relocating. I actually, when landed here, I will tell you my first experience in my office. It was a winter season. I joined during winters and I was wearing a sweater. I'm an Indian. We call sweater as sweater. When I said, some of one of my team member liked my sweater, and she said, "Nice jumper." I was like, "What is jumper? I don't know." So then my boss said, "It's jumper in Australia." I said, "Okay, got it." And then there were like couple of more learnings for me, and I would like to share some funny things which we need to know, and it will be fun knowing. And so, like sweater is jumper, we say eraser, they say we say rubber, they say eraser. And then I was also said, we say biscuit, they say cookies. We say chips, they say hot fries, and a lot of like this. Okay, so we say dustbin, they will say bin. A lot of things to learn when you land in a new country, and whenever you say something new, they will be like, okay, what is sweater? I'm like, okay, what is jumper? So that was a funny conversation. Now coming to an understanding, I felt they will not enjoy Indian food. And when I actually saw them relishingly having pani puri here and butter chicken, that's when I felt the culture is traveling across. They are aware of Indians because they have this habit of knowing things. So when I came to know about Australians, it enhanced when I landed here and lived with them. And then I got to know, okay, they are reading about our culture. They are curious about knowing about our bindi. I had no clue that they even know boys are applying one red tika. Why boys are applying tika? That was the question asked to me. So that is the level of understanding they are going and trying to understand. So that's where we say we live in a world where we learn from each other, and that's what I could see, that they are willing to learn, and so are we learning a lot more from them about their culture and the good things of Aussies. So this is what I think. Experience come reading has a difference. You will go and achieve something as a travel. Yes, you went, but a lived experience or something which you've actually spoken and had a heart to heart conversation. That's when actually reveals a lot more depth and understanding of the country, place, and the culture. So over to you, Sujata, for more insights.
Thank you, Shritapa. As you just said, jumper or sweater. Both are correct. So I love this part of the story, in The Alchemist, because it shows us something so true about life. Here are two people on the same journey seeking the same goal. The Englishman wants to find the alchemist. Santiago wants to reach the pyramids, but they go about it in completely different ways. The Englishman, he reads, he studies, he has books and theories. Santiago watches. He feeds, he learns the language of the desert, the wind, the silence. And Viktor Frankl would say both are valid, both are beautiful, because Frankl discovered that meaning comes to us in two main ways. Actually, three, but we'll go to the third one later. First, meaning comes through doing, through creating a work, achieving something, making your mark. That's the Englishman. He wants to master alchemy. He wants to do something. Second, meaning comes through experiencing, through encountering beauty, truth, nature, and most importantly, through encountering another person in love. That's Santiago. He's not trying to do anything in the desert. He's letting the desert teach him. Let me give you a real example from Frankel's book. He describes the moment in the camp that was utterly brutal. Freezing morning, digging in the ground, a guard shouting at him. Everything was grey, the sky, the snow, the faces. And in that moment, Frankel did something. He turned inward. He forced his thoughts away from the misery. And suddenly he saw himself standing in the future in a warm, bright lecture hall. And he was giving a lecture. And can you guess on what? On the psychology of the concentration camp. He was experiencing his own future purpose. He couldn't do anything in that moment. He couldn't escape, couldn't change his situation, but he could experience meaning through his inner vision. And that experience sustained him. And here's what's fascinating. The Englishman and Santiago are both right. The Englishman's path of study and achievement, that brings meaning. Santiago's path of openness and experience, that also brings meaning. The problem is when we get stuck, when we think only one path is valid. When the Englishman dismisses Santiago as naive, or Santiago dismisses the Englishman as bookish, Frankl would say, the meaning is the goal, the path is yours to choose. So the takeaway, don't compare your journey to anyone else's. The Englishman needs his books, Santiago needs his silence. You need whatever feeds your soul. Trust it. Now, Jasveer, would you like to add or give your perspective to these stories? Over to you, Jasveer.
Thank you, Sujata, for sharing these perspectives. Definitely, there are two ways to look at any situation. One is by actually doing the work and getting satisfaction from it, and the other is going through an experience and deriving satisfaction from it. I would like to share my story of when I have a passion for writing since my teenage years, and I wanted to publish my book. And when I wrote my first book, Not Without My Mother, it was dedicated to mothers because I felt the kind of love and support that I received from my mother. I should dedicate something to her. At the same time, being a mother myself, I know the kind of sacrifices and dedication that a mother has to give towards her children. And I wanted to leave a legacy behind for my daughter, something that she can cherish even after I'm gone. And the book was a collection of short stories about mothers and the challenges that they face. And when I finally published the book in 2023, the kind of satisfaction I derived from the kind of hard work that I put in, because I was not an author, but I was working on this art of writing and improving on it, editing my work, being able to actually publish it on Amazon. So that kind of satisfaction is unique. When you actually see your creation out there for the world to see and you want to share it with the world, it's a beautiful feeling to be able to share your own creation and to actually put in those efforts and then see the final product. The other experience that like how Sujata ji was mentioning, that we can experience something and learn from it. So my experience has been that when I was studying during my college days, I went through the Art of Living Happiness course. And the first time I independently, we have to practice a meditation exercise. And the first time I practiced it, I clearly remember the feeling of satisfaction, the feeling of uh, actually the soul feeling a kind of freedom and a relaxation to the body. It was a unique experience, something that I cannot put into words. It can only be experienced, because when I finished the meditation and I walked out of the room, my mother actually felt that there was a kind of charm and brightness around me, a feeling that there was an inner satisfaction that I felt, and the peace and calm that we all seek in life, because that's the ultimate that we seek, and that I experienced in that meditation exercise. And I'm really grateful to God that I could experience it, because these are things that we cherish and we long for in life. So I think these are the experiences that we all of us would have definitely gone through. And now I hand it over to Dr. Geeta to continue with the story. Thank you.
Thank you, Jasbir. And it is such a beautiful experience that you have shared with us. And thank you for that. And I resonate totally. One is when we reach our goal through the experience of working for it and finally making it, manifesting it, it is so priceless. And then I also resonate with your experience of going through the meditation, because when I went through the meditation process myself, I definitely felt a kind of connect with the things around me. So connecting it to Santiago's journey, we see that as the caravan slowly crosses the vast Sahara, Santiago's journey begins to change in unexpected ways. The endless desert, with its shifting sands and silent horizons, becomes more than just a path toward the pyramids. It becomes a place of waiting, of reflection, and of discovery. Eventually, the caravan reaches the lush oasis of Al Fuyum, a rare sanctuary in the middle of the desert, filled with palm trees, wells, and travelers seeking safety. Because tribal wars are raging across the desert, the caravan must remain there until the conflict passes. For Santiago, this pause in the journey brings an encounter that will change his heart forever. Because at the oasis, he meets Fatima, a young desert woman whose quiet strength and calm presence immediately captures his attention. Their meeting is simple, almost ordinary, yet something profound unfolds between them. For the first time since beginning his quest, Santiago feels a powerful new temptation. What if he stayed and not continued his journey? Here in the oasis, life offers him something beautiful and peaceful: love, belonging, and a place to call home. After months of uncertainty and wandering, the idea of remaining there with Fatima feels comforting and deeply human. But Fatima understands something that Santiago himself is still learning. When he confesses his fears about leaving her to continue the journey, Fatima responds with wisdom that echoes one of the novel's deepest truths. True love, she tells him, does not hold a person back from their destiny. Instead, it gives them the strength to pursue it. Fatima encourages Santiago to continue his quest for his personal legend. She trusts that if the love is real, it will endure distance, time, and the uncertainties of the desert. Her faith transforms Santiago's understanding of love itself. He begins to see that love is not possession or limitation. Love is the quiet courage that allows another person to become who they are meant to be. It is also in this oasis that Santiago encounters the mysterious figure he has heard whispers about throughout his journey, the alchemist. A man of wisdom and deep spiritual insight, the alchemist immediately recognizes that Santiago is ready for the next stage of his journey. Where others see only a shepherd boy, the alchemist sees a seeker who has learned to listen to the language of the world. Recognizing Santiago's growing understanding, the alchemist agrees to guide him through the dangerous desert towards the pyramids. And so, as the second part of the story draws to a close, Santiago makes another courageous choice. He leaves the oasis, he leaves Fatima, but he does not leave his love behind. Instead, he carries it with him as a strength, as his faith, and as a reminder that the journey toward one's destiny often asks us to trust what we cannot yet see. And that brings us to today's question. My question to you all viewers, Fatima tells Santiago that true love never stands in the way of one's destiny. Do you also think love supports our dreams or sometimes makes us abandon them? I now invite Dr. Siddharth to give his reflections on this question. Over to you, Dr. Siddharth.
Thank you, Dr. Geeta. This one was such a heartwarming tale because love, when we talk about love, love is always about not about the position, like you said, positions and whatever physical things we are looking at, but it is much deeper and much beyond that. And love also is important. We kind of keep it like love may make us weak, but it is also a very powerful strength we all have, which can endure us, help us endure during the difficult times. So, one of the stories which I want to relate to here is when uh, when I became an engineer and I wanted to find a job in my hometown, but there were no opportunities I was able to find at that time, and I being a homesick kid, I always want to be near her, near around my home. But then I was pushed by my sister, my father, my mom. All of them said that you need to go far from the place because then only you will learn. I was not understanding at that point, and I was thinking all of these people are villains in my life now. But then, yeah, see, this one was a very deep emotion from where I was coming. That whatever you told me to do, you told me to study hard. You asked me to do the graduation, engineering, whatever you told. I did all that, but the job I need to find near your place, near my place. But there came the villainous thought that no, you cannot do a job here. Well, okay, though I was searching, but I didn't find. And I was actually even looking for very small jobs, like finding a job in a bar or somewhere after doing engineering, and it was completely unacceptable. So I had to find my job, so there was a job placement already going on, and I was not happy with that. So finally, I agreed to study, and I did some more advanced level studies. Then I thought, okay, after the advanced level study, because I was searching for something which will give me opportunities in my own hometown, and that was my area of interest, but it was not happening. Finally, when I landed into a opportunity that was far, we used to live in north, and then we moved to east, and the opportunity came in south. So it was like far apart, and those days flight tickets were quite costly, so it was not easy to take flight and go. So train journeys were the only ways, and they were like long ones. So my point here is that when we actually see this incident, my thought was that why they are pushing me away, and I could have stayed near my home. But then when I see it now, I understand that they pushed me away, not that they wanted me to go away, but it was my destiny that I had to travel and see places and understand and learn and explore. And that was my, maybe that is how I met my alchemist. And that alchemist have changed faces all over period, and I've met them in different phases. And somebody in a different phase, I mean, with a different personality, gives me some idea, and then I pick up from there. So that is how life teaches us. But one thing which remains is the love, uh, which is pure and deeply connected, always stays with you and actually will help you to grow and become stronger. It will not weaken you. It will create that kind of space which will let you and find out more about yourself and explore a lot about the world. So I think that is how I take this incident from Alchemist. Over to you, Shitapa, for your story. Thank you so much.
Wow, what a beautiful story and very, very inspiring and beautiful story, I will say, which might be relatable to a lot of people who are hearing here because, yes, children are asked to leave homes and go do their jobs in different cities and placement happen and kids are very upset at times and homesick. So this will be a very encouraging story for them. But coming to my story, I have a 65-year woman who was owner of my rented house in Mumbai, and both of us were the only people living in the house. So, Auntie, I used to lovingly call her. She once we were watching a movie, and she just paused somewhere in between and said, "Shri, you know what? I have a dream to do cybersecurity study from US." And I'm already 65 or plus. So, an international degree for me is just a dream now. And that's what something moved in me. And we just paused everything else. And we had a very deep heart to heart conversation that day, that how much funding will be needed, how much she has, what are the interest areas, which are the university which she can go to, and all the things we started exploring. And she was like, but she, I don't think I can make it, living there alone, managing everything. Although she has a daughter in US and in a different state, but she was like, I don't know whether I will be able to complete the education, do a job there again. And then I said, look, in US, from your age, I see you still have 5 to long time. They have 70 years as their retirement age. So just go ahead, do your degrees in 2 years. You still have 3 years to work, and that's all. So your dream gets fulfilled. And then somehow she got convinced, everything was said. I was working hard to check all the details for her because for me it was totally new. I had no clue. I've never lived in US. So and neither I have explored for myself because I didn't want to go that far, as you know me by now. So I was like, okay, I will do it for you. We sat together. I just connected with people and figured out things for her. She was good enough to find all the details for university. She got chance in the university and she got an email also. So she applied and everything got ready. Now the biggest challenge was finding a home there so that she can go and do. That was not happening. So we planned a lot of, after a lot of trial, we identified university stays. We'll try to request that because she is an aged person. Immediately finding a home becomes difficult. So we had applied, but we didn't get till the travel time. So I was now the challenge is how to connect with her until she gets a sim. So for me, it was like I was preparing her to fulfill her dream, but somehow I knew if she goes in that big house, it's only me who is going to live, and I have to stay all by myself. So she was like, "Shri, you will be alone in this house. Everything will fall on you, and you have to manage this space entirely by yourself." And I said, "Okay, I know that, but that's your dream, right? So we will work towards it." And finally, when she returned back, doing her graduation, completing her graduation, and sending me her graduation video, that was the moment that gave me that feeling that wow, I could help a 65-year-old woman achieve her dream, do a cybersecurity job, do a business there, work there, and then return with happiness after 2 3 years. So so that's what I will say. Yeah, we were apart, but that brought us together, I will say. I mean, we didn't get to stay long, but that made us connected forever, I would say. So over to you, Sujata, for more information.
Thank you, Shritapa. That was such an inspiring story. The way you had, and I can relate with it so well because I'm also uh, even more older. Like I'm 70 plus, and I also have my dreams and wishes and want to do so many things. And I find young people, they have really helped me. So now coming back to the story, Santiago is ready to give up his dream of for love. Fatima says something remarkable. Like when he's about to, she says, "If I'm really part of your dream, you will come back." She refuses to be the reason he stops. She says, "I will not stop you." She refuses to let love become a cage. And Frankel, he is starving, freezing, exhausted. We are going back to Auschwitz now. Change from the book, from one book to the next book. So Frankel is starving, freezing, exhausted. He doesn't know if his wife is alive also. He has no way to contact her. And yet, in the midst of this horror, he has a moment of profound realization. He is marching to work one morning, forced along by the guards. Another prisoner whispers to him, if our wives could see us now." And suddenly Frankel's mind fills with the image of his wife. He writes these words. Just listen to what he says. "For the first time in my life, I saw the truth as it is set into song by so many poets, proclaimed as the final wisdom by so many thinkers, the truth that love is the ultimate and the highest goal to which man can aspire. Then I grasped the meaning of the greatest secret that human poetry and human thought and belief have to impart. The salvation of man is through love and in love." He didn't know if she was alive, and it didn't even really matter. Her love was real. His love for her was real. And that love gave him strength to survive another day, another hour, another moment. You see, for Frankel, love was not a distraction from meaning. Love was meaning. It was one of the primary ways to find purpose in life. And here's what's so beautiful. Both books say the same thing about love. Fatima says, "Go fulfill your dream. That's how you honor our love." Frankel's wife, in his memory, says, "I'm with you. My love will sustain you. Love does not ask you to shrink. Love does not ask you to stop growing. Real love, the kind Fatima had, the kind Frankel had, pushes you towards your highest self." So the takeaway, if someone truly loves you, they will want you to become everything you can be, even if it means letting you go. So that's what you also did in your interaction with Auntie. And so now over to you, Jasmeer, for your insights into this.
Such beautiful insights, Sujata. Yes, love is a very strong emotion, and it gives you the kind of strength to move ahead in life. And from my experience, I have definitely felt this. I lost my father 7 years ago, and I am the only child. So there have been so many instances when I think about my father and I miss him, and I feel very low. And at that point in time, suddenly a butterfly will come into the room, or on another particular day, a very close friend of his will call. So it's like as if he's sending me signals. Though he's not here in his physical form, his spirit his soul is sending me signals. So love is something that, irrespective of wherever the person is, their love is always there for you, and that gives you strength. So for instance, we had a Likhega India mission in which we had to complete writing our book. And I felt a lot of pressure to finish the book in good time, to be able to achieve, around 774 books were published on a particular day. And we were, trying to get the Asia Book of Records. So I wanted to publish my book and I was falling short of time. But the whole thought that my father's soul is watching me, he's there for me, And the whole thought that he would have been so proud of me for being part of such an accomplished record. That thought, that love of his pushed me and helped me to achieve my goals. And I believe this is very true with every human being who's lost a parent, because we know that their souls, their spirits are guiding us, and their love is always something that will push us to achieve our goals, irrespective of the fact whether they are there physically around us or not. On the same grounds, if you think of the army men, and when they go on a particular mission, and for instance, if army officer is being posted in Kargil, we can't even imagine the kind of troubles and the kind of stress that they go through in those kind of circumstances. The only thing that pushes them is the love of their family, of their wives, their partners, their parents who are back home, who are waiting for them. And the anxiety is there in both the ends, whether the army officer will be actually going back home in his physical form or will go back home wrapped in the national flag. But irrespective of the fact, the love of the army officer's family is what gives him courage to face whatever adversities he has to, in whatever circumstances he has to. So love is a very strong force. It can break all the barriers in the world and make you achieve all the goals, irrespective of however weak you think you are. But love is a very strong force. And with that, I'd like to hand over to Shritapa and for concluding today's session. Thank you.
That was a very touching story, Jaspreet. Thank you for sharing. And definitely, people, the bond of love is so strong that whether you live or not, the connection remains with the soul. So that's what we got to know from your story. And that's what can be an inspiration for people who do not have their close ones or loved ones around. So with this, I am sure many people have learned a lot from all of us and our relatable insights today. Hope that keeps you inspired for the rest of the week until we meet next Thursday. Tada, bye bye, take care.